Hello, my name is Matt Bird, and I want to welcome you to the PublishU podcast, where we explore the real life stories of authors from around the world. And today we're talking to Sheralyn Pattison from Derby in the United Kingdom, who has written a book called Couch to Kilimanjaro. Sheralyn, welcome.
Fantastic. Thank you. It's lovely to be here, Matt. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about this epic work.
This epic work, but this epic work isn't your main thing, Sheralyn. You have a lot of things. So tell us about your portfolio of work. What is it you do day to day?
So day to day, I'm a wills, probate, lasting power of attorney lawyer. And I've been running that legal business for 7 years now. And it's just keeps going and keeps running.
Right. Keeps them off the doors. But you're also into doggies as well, aren't you?
Yeah, so I look after. They're not here at the moment because obviously we need complete silence. So they've been taken out by my nephew. But yeah, I'm starting a doggy daycare business, and still starting that. There's a few bumps in the road with that, and that is to hopefully employ survivors of trauma. So it's not just going to be modern slavery survivors. I've now cottoned on that children in care might need that same thing because I've recently become a foster mum as well.
Wow.
So
you've got a lot going on.
Yep, absolutely. It keeps me busy.
And you're a globally published author, Sheralyn. How does it feel being the author of a globally published book? I mean, come on, spill the beans.
So last year, my book's been out a year now, a whole year. And last year, I remember going from not being to being, and thought, yes, everything's going to change. You know, we're gonna be in the Times bestseller list. It's all of those things, but actually, what the reality is, it's not just about publishing the book. The work then has to carry on beyond that. You have to promote. You have to talk about to get the book out there, and it's a wonderful book. I've got lots and lots and lots and lots of other books in me as a result of it, and so it's been a great experience. But it's not something that I could give up my business for at this current moment in time.
No, I always say that writing a book is like having a baby. The real work begins when it's born. And I don't think sometimes people take me seriously, but, you know, books don't sell themselves. You have to put a bit of oomph into them. And the good thing is you've got lots of oomph, haven't you? I mean, you're a dynamo of energy and enthusiasm.
Yeah, and just finding the opportunities and doing things that are out there to see if it works. So I went to a Christmas fair recently. I only sold 2 or 3 books, but actually I had a great meeting with somebody who's going to put on a book, like a book fair in March next year. And I know the authors. So they're all going to be local authors, and there's plenty of local can be as wide or as narrow as you choose for it to be. Local could be the UK, you know. So it'd be great to get some of the authors along to do readings, and we're going to do it as part of the book fair, the Derby book. There's like a Derby book fair, and that all came out of that very chance. Let's see if a Christmas fair works. Let's see if going to a Christmas market works. And so you just have to go for each and every opportunity. It's not just about launching, it's then just about speaking wherever you can and talking about what you've done. And even though if you followed me on social media, you wouldn't be able to miss it. There's still people in my circle that just don't know because Facebook has an algorithm and you're playing with that all the time. You know, you to get it in front of people.
Let's come on to your book. So you did something crazy, and I love the title for your book. And I think once you hear the title, Couch to Kilimanjaro, you kind of got, in essence, exactly what happened. You moved from sofa to climbing Kilimanjaro. Well, what on earth possessed you to want to climb Kilimanjaro?
Lots of reasons. But it was crazy. It was crazy, but I was in a time in my life where I'd suffered lots of loss, and I was on my knees, then went through a period of healing, and then my good friend Tim Nelson, CEO at Hope for Justice, he got up on stage one day and went, "Yes, we're going to climb Kilimanjaro for Hope for Justice." And I went, "Yeah, I can do that. It's just walking uphill." And yeah, it's just a walk in the park, that is. And so I signed up, not really realizing quite how big a task that might be. And I'd not exercised for about 20 years. I'd just given up smoking.
Oh my goodness.
It
So
was
give us a sense of what it's like to climb Kilimanjaro. I mean, what's the elevation you climb to? How many hours does it take? How much kit do you have to carry?
Oh, well, fortunate enough, they have porters to carry your kit, because I don't think I'd have managed without that. But the altitude after you're at 6,000 meters, 20,000 feet. And after 3,000, you start to suffer altitude sickness, and it's just hard work. The oxygen goes down. And I thought that you would be able to go a bit uphill, and then there'd be a steady gradient, and another, and a steady, like you do in the UK. No, it's all uphill. And I know that sounds daft saying it, but I thought that might be the case. But no, it was just a hard slog.
And how many hours, how many days climbing?
So the route we took was 7 days, and camping in between. And fortunately enough, the porters carry your tents and your food and all of those things. So to take 22 of us up there was a team of 48 supporting.
Yeah, amazing.
So it was a lot.
Yeah. And you're here to tell the tale. You didn't die.
I am. I survived. I did nearly. I mean, I didn't quite realize how close to death I was when I was up there, thankfully. But I was, my oxygen was so low, it was down at 63%, my oxygen saturation, and that I had to come down on a stretcher. And I got to base camp. I didn't actually summit, but there was a whole story behind all of that, and that's the way the book's written, is that the journey down and the journey up are in synchronicity with one another, and that's what's kept people reading it. So yeah, it's great, and I just, all the proceeds of it are donated to 2 charities. So I just love writing that Christmas card every year, and I've only done it in the last 2 years. But I'm writing a Christmas card to both John Conrath and Tim Nelson, and just enclosing a check and saying, "There you go, guys. That's what we sold this year." It's just and just to help them do their work. That's the go on.
So you're a woman that likes to climb mountains. So you climbed Kilimanjaro, or a good bit of it anyway. But actually, writing the book itself was not a small accomplishment, was it? What did you have to overcome in yourself, Sheralyn, to write your book?
Oh, well, I wrote the book originally, and I wrote an autobiography, thinking, yes, the world wants to know that I was born in this very twee house and very nice lifestyle. And of course the world doesn't want to know that bit. That's not the story. And I had a very good, honest friend after my first draft, because I obviously did your course, Matt, your PublishU writing my book course, and I wrote the first draft then. And
how many thousand words was it, Sheralyn? It was
70,000.
And I suggest 30,000. So you really went for it, didn't you?
I did. And as you can tell, I'm not quiet. I've got a lot to say.
So you wrote 70,000 words during the course, and then you gave the book to a couple of friends, and one of them said to you, what?
Famous people write autobiographies, Sheralyn. And I went, are you saying I'm not famous enough to write an autobiography? And he went, well, yes. And he was right. An autobiographical book from an average person, no offense meant to any of us doing the course, we are just who we are. We're normal people, and so nobody really wants to know all the details of your life. And so I had to redraft it, and that was the hardest thing, was redrafting it, because of the emotional journey I'd been on, through my family losses and through the things that I'd gone through. It was really hard to sit back down and refocus myself But it was such a joy to receive the email from the same friend who'd given me that advice to say, now you've got a book, Sheralyn. And I was like, great, okay, we're on it. And
so you cut it from 70,000 words to how many?
32,500.
32.5. There we go.
So
a proper book, but readable.
Yeah.
I always say people don't like long books anymore. Don't give us 50, 60, 70,000. Give us 30, 35, you know.
Nice sit down and read one night.
Yeah, totally.
Most people can do that in a few hours. I mean, I know some of the authors you've interviewed, I've read their books cover to cover quite quickly, and they're good holiday reads. They're good, amazing reads. And I know they're all on your bookshelf in your holiday home, aren't they, Matt?
They are. Yours included. So
thank you. So yeah.
And so, Sheralyn, anybody listening to this who's thinking, I couldn't write a book. Forget Kilimanjaro. Writing a book is just too much of a mountain for me to climb. How would you encourage them?
I would say obviously I did your writing my book course, Matt. So I would encourage anybody listening to this to get in touch and do the writing a book course. If you've got, everybody has a book in them. Everybody has a story to tell. And, even in your own close circles, they'll want to read that story.
Yeah.
Not just the extended circles. It's great if you end up with a book that other people outside who don't know you want to read. And especially with the personal stories, it's generally those that are closest to you. It's not a novel. It's not going to, it probably won't make Times bestseller, but those people around you will want to read your story. And even, it's such a worthwhile exercise. It's a cathartic exercise to get that out, and to get that out so quickly. Talk, it's possible, it's doable, just get in touch.
There we go. And Sheralyn, as we kind of wrap up today, what are your highest aspirations for your book, Couch to Kilimanjaro? What do you hope, what's the impact you hope it has in people's lives?
Okay, so I wrote it for a group of people who've known me for 20, 30 years and seen this dramatic change from the person that they knew when they were in their 20s and when we were in our 20s. And so I wanted those people to understand why. And if anybody else is benefits from reading it and is inspired to get off their backside, and of course it's Couch to Kilimanjaro is a coin on Couch to 5K. So if it encourages somebody to get off their backside and to do something different and to do something new, that's what I hope for that book, that somebody somewhere is inspired. And it's really a joy to hear when somebody I know says to me, oh, I was inspired by your book to do X. That means it's achieved. It says the straplines, be inspired to climb your own personal mountain. And that can be anything. It's not a literal mountain. It can be anything. It can be writing a book. It can be building a business. It can be getting off the couch and running. It can be something as simple as getting out of bed in the morning, but just be inspired and do something different.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Sheralyn, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you all for listening to the PublishU podcast, featuring the real life stories of authors from around the world. And if you, like Sheralyn, would like to write a book, please be in contact with us at www.PublishU.com. And if you've enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you so much for joining us, and goodbye for now.